there is no room for beginners in trading? If you think so, today I'm gonna bust this myth. In literally like 10 or so minutes, you're gonna find out what simple tool you can use in order to close 8 out of 10 trades in profit. I know that most of you guys want to learn, and so be sure to take each advice in this video seriously. I'm sure it's going to be really helpful and useful for you if you actually want to make profits. So guys, today we're going to work with and hone one particular situation, which is the trend switch. In order to comprehend what a trend shift is, you gotta grasp the logic of the motion you're seeing right now on your screens. So what's the point and what is a trend change at all? Look, the market is evolving with a downward motion, not in a straight line, of course. It's kind of wave-ish, you see, with little rollbacks, because the market can't be constantly falling or constantly rising. It stumbles upon little corrections along the primary motions. Right now, we can tell the market is dominated by a downtrend. So, what are we gonna do? We're highlighting the main points of these corrective retracements, trying to draw a trend line through them. I managed to place one through this point and these two right here. I can tell this is basically our trend line that's currently not letting the chart start rising. For instance, every time the price approaches the line, it faces a correction. So, I hope everything's clear so far, and I hope you get that the downtrend is still going on. But what are we gonna do today? First of all, we're witnessing a reaction to this line right here, which proves it is indeed valid. Us, on our part, we will be capturing moments the price overcomes this trend line. So this trend line prevents the chart from rising, thereby in order to place a trade upwards, in order for the rise to occur in the first place, the price should break through this line and at least come back to test it once again. And during that trend line retest, will we make a deal upwards? Because that's exactly the market model that's considered to be complete and technically logical, you know. By the way, this is what it looks like schematically. Here's our trend line. The market moves towards it, bounces off of it, breaks it through at some point, comes back to test it once again, and only after that does an upward motion start, which also obtains a certain trend line, you know. So that retest kind of confirms the structure's crash. That's exactly the kind of a situation we're observing right now. Here's a little breakthrough, by the way, kind of an exit outside of this trend line, and the price lowered back precisely to the line. We can see a shadow of this large green line, so the line was basically tested by the candle's shadow. Obviously, retests might be way more evident, you know, I only showed you one example. All this may look like this, for instance, a clear and meticulous exit with multiple candles like these ones, then the price falls, and after it comes back to the trend line, technically testing it as if it's a support level, not a resistance line. After that, an uptrend starts. This is what it looks like on paper, and that's the only scenario we're gonna delve into in this video. So ideally, I would wanna make like 4 to 5 profitable deals today, so feel free to observe the whole process. By the way, the first one has already got us an amazing result. Let's look for a similar situation within other assets. So the next case looks really appealing. Let's adjust the trend line so that it's located more accurately. It's a really big and really long trend line. The price reacted to numerous times, reversing downwards. The trend line used to play the role of resistance for a while, but ever since it was broken through, it turns into a support line. So the price will either start rising now because the trend is broken through, or it will go back to the trend lines to test it once again and only then start rising from that point. So you can perceive the trend line as if it's a normal kind of level, you know. Basically, the price gotta firstly approach the level and come real close to it and test it before resuming the primary trend motion. It's the same support or resistance line, it's just that it's inclined and it's called a trend line, you know. By the way, the second trade is closing in profit just as well. I'll mark this currency pair because I'm really curious what will be going on here later on. Because, you know, I think it's not impossible for the price to go back to the line to test it once again. Let's see what we got next. So I think this situation is an example of when it's literally impossible to be on time. But let's take the risk and place a trade downwards because technically the price overcame the current trend level. Basically, what's going on here? There's this trend line highlighted with green. The price bounced off of it multiple times. Obviously, we can also trade assuming a rollback from that line, but we gotta keep in mind that all trend lines get broken through sooner or later. And that's exactly what happened here. The level was broken just like that with only one huge candle. Do you see guys? Why is it a breakout and not some kind of a false exit? Let me explain it to you. Because the chart has already tested this trend line. But right after the retest, the level got broken, so ideally we could have placed a trade right here, for instance. Nevertheless, I waited for another candle to settle. It turned out too big. We placed the trade downwards, and at the moment, the third candle after the breakout appears red just as well. Technically, we could keep trading downwards here, but the situation is already questionable because there's a support level the price might react to. So in this kind of cases, we gotta be more cautious, guys. Such clear trendline breakouts aren't a very often occurrence, you know. So this red falling candle will settle in 10 seconds, so we will be able to make sure this is actually the trendline breakout, because this green candle right here was the trendline retest. This way we can tell the candle shadow either slightly or fully touches the trend line. Thereby, I expect two scenarios now. The first possible outcome is the price will rapidly fall, thereby fall down right away due to liquidity. The market will switch to a downtrend, or the price will get back to the green trend line once again. And since it's a resistance now, only after a retest will the price start falling. I'm okay with both scenarios, but of course it would be nice to, get a profit right away off of the first trade. Let's see how it goes. The case is closed quite oddly. Although the candle is red, we're not getting a profit because the disadvantage was literally like a couple of price points. It is indeed frustrating and annoying, but I'm confident about this case. The current price is sure enough for us to tell there was a legit retest if we adjust the trend line a tiny bit. Now I hope the chart is ready to move downwards. Let's see how it goes and observe a little bit. So everything's amazing. Yeah, unfortunately only on the second try, on the second attempt, but we did manage to succeed. For that purpose, always be assured to distribute your deposit the way it would be enough to cover any unexpected losses, just like we did it now. At the moment, we're witnessing a pretty obvious and easily predictable fall since the trend line was successfully broken. So to date, we have increased our deposit almost twice. Isn't it wonderful, guys? I think the result is pretty great, pretty pleasant results. So to say, make sure to apply the freshly gained knowledge and freshly gained experience in practice. And of course, I'm waiting for you guys at my today's free trading session on my Telegram channel. Thanks for your attention. Try this strategy out. See you very, very soon.